Hi. So let's chat about what types of homeschool schedules work well with year-round homeschooling. Honestly, there that's the best thing about year-round homeschooling is the flexibility. But I remember being a brand new year-round homeschooling and a brand new homeschool mom, and I needed to have some sort of idea, what am I doing and how does it look and how do I make it work. So I wanted to throw out a few types of schedules that you could consider in case you aren't sure where to begin. And for those of you that are like I was early on when I had to have a schedule in place, because I don't want any of you to feel like, oh my word, I don't know where to start. So I don't need a schedule anymore. I have high schoolers who are very independent, but many of you are not in that place, and that is totally fine. So I want to make sure that I give those of you that need some sort of direction or at least an idea of where to start, I want to give you some ideas for that. So I've already told you that a quarterly homeschooling schedule worked amazing for us for years. Homeschooling from September through November, January through March, and May through July was amazing. I wish we could still have a schedule like that, quite honestly, because it worked very well. It was 3 months on, 1 month off, 3 months on, 1 month off, and it worked beautifully. I loved it. My kids did well with it. It just doesn't work for our family anymore. So that's one that a lot of people don't even consider. I've not seen anybody else consider that for homeschooling. And I can tell you that we loved it. Again, we did not homeschool 7 days a week. We didn't homeschool 5 days a week every week. But that is, we always homeschooled those months of the year. But what it looked like in each month was different sometimes. Another option I mentioned before is 3 weeks on and 1 week off. That's great for you to be able to plan, to track things, to grade your kids' curriculum, and it makes it really easy to pencil in your field trips and activities and things like that on a monthly basis. It's perfect for unit study homeschoolers because typically you can complete a unit study in 3 weeks. 1 month for a unit study. So if you have 1 week to prepare for it, get everything put together, and then 3 weeks to complete it with your kids. So the 3 weeks on and 1 week off is great for unit study homeschoolers, I believe. The next option is 6 weeks on and 1 week off, which again, I've told you earlier, is often referred to as Sabbath schooling, which is it's a total of 7 weeks. And so that's why it's referred to as Sabbath schooling. And a lot of times people find that to be really beneficial. 6 weeks is a good length of time, and you're ready for a break by the end of the 6th week. So that's another great option. Some other types of schedules to consider outside of your long scheduling is, are you going to do a 5-day week or a 4-day week or what? I can tell you that I tried doing a 4-day week this last year with my children, and with high schoolers, I don't believe it works. I found my kids, they really enjoyed having a 3-day weekend, but they had a really hard time because they had so many classes and their chapters and their tests and things were so long that it was harder for them to complete everything in a 4-day week. So I personally don't recommend a 4-day week for those of you with high schoolers. A 5-day week is great for shorter days, which is good for younger students as well because you can have shorter days more often during the week. So we've gone back to a 5-day week, and we do have shorter days, but it also allows my high schoolers not to feel overwhelmed with the amount of school they're having, in every school day. So those are 2 great options. 4-day weeks, again, are great for younger students. They are also great for having an extra day of the week that you don't tell your kids you're actually homeschooling. I used to, when my children were younger and we did follow a 4-day school week when it worked for us, I used to take them on a field trip or plan activities, or we would have a home ec day where they didn't realize it was counting towards their homeschooling because life schooling is important. Kids need to know how to do the laundry and cook for themselves. I'm not going to be there forever. So that's another great option for those of you that are considering 4-day weeks, is use that 5th day to your advantage. It also works well for spillover. If you have extra things that didn't get done the other 4 days, that fifth day can be what you do extra from those days that didn't get completed because, your husband came home early from work, or your neighbor came over and spent 3 hours chatting, or whatever the case is. That fifth day of the week can be a spillover day, and that can be a benefit as well. Again, year-round homeschooling is the most flexible homeschooling option out there, and you can create the homeschool schedule that works for you. If 5 days or 4 days don't work for you, make it 3, especially if you have little ones. Little ones should be having fun learning. It should not be sit down and do the work all day long. So find what works for you. These are just a few examples of types of schedules that I know that I've used or that I've heard about that I know other year-round homeschoolers have used. So please don't feel like, oh, I have to pick one of these. You absolutely do not. Find what works for you, find what works for your children, and enjoy it. And enjoy the benefits and blessings of homeschooling year-round.